celebrate the bar and bat mitzvah of our 9 Brit Atid participants. JJP started only 4 years ago, and it stands on 4 pillars: flexibility, innovation, collaboration, and community. This vision is a new vision for what it means to involve our children and our students in becoming young Jewish adults. We realize that there are many ways to learn, many different passions to explore, and because the Sea of Judaism is so vast, we are not here to do more than to lay down those pathways for you and to guide you on your journey. But today marks an important moment for each of you. We can guide you, we can listen to you, we can help you on your way, but we can't walk that path for you. Only you can do that on your own. We will now hear our students' words of Torah.
Of laws and tradition. Me, my parents, and Jeremy and Rabbi Lori talked a lot about tradition and how it affected my parsha. We discovered that traditions being passed down from generation to generation don't always have to stay the same. What's important is that the core value is still present, but the way it is presented to people is different. Just like what we're doing right now, we're not having a traditional bar mitzvah. We are just presenting the core value, making the transition from a child to a young man or woman differently. A very good example for my parsha is in the court cases. For example, one of the rules in the Torah is if you cut off someone's hand, you have to pay them the amount the hand was worth to them. Like if they were a carpenter, they would need that hand more to work, so it would be worth more than if they were a florist. This is a case of tradition because we don't really have this law now, but we do have the ways we deal with criminal charges, like prison and court. Another example is from the court cases of the goring ox. The goring ox is a case when an ox injures or harms another person. This case is an example of culture, not a law, because every ancient Eastern law code had a similar law, yet we have never actually seen a court document where the law was put into practice. So what's the point of the law? Well, to teach you the important values that we still hold here today. It wasn't designed to be practical. It was designed as a lesson on the same values of compensation and punishment. The Torah is trying to teach us about how to be fair.
When Moses first came to Pharaoh to grant the Hebrews their freedom, many people's hope was renewed. But as Moses struggled to change Pharaoh's mind, many felt broken and hopeless. Because of Pharaoh's stubbornness and mistreatment of God's people, I believe the plagues were a source of punishment to Pharaoh and showed him what the Israelites had to endure. I think God chose each plague carefully, each with a meaning and significance to show Pharaoh the evil of what he was doing to the Hebrews. God chose each plague specifically to indicate to Pharaoh everything the Israelites had to endure. I believe what the Israelites went through was much worse than the plagues God sent on the Egyptians. God sent Moses to warn Pharaoh of them, and Pharaoh could have spared himself and his people, but he chose otherwise. In addition, the plagues were temporary, while what the Israelites had to endure seemed permanent, and they did not know if it would ever have an end.
The worst was when she was in kindergarten, holding hands with a classmate in the hallway. Her partner wouldn't hold her hand because she said it was dirty. On another occasion, she was driving with her father on the highway when they were stopped not once, but twice. She didn't exactly know why, but the first time they were pulled over, the police asked her father a few questions. And then the second time they were pulled over, the cop asked him to step out of the car, although luckily no arrests were made. The main thing I took away from this particular interview was how deep-seated racism is and how it could be so unfair. But wait, and going back into my Torah portion, I thought that everyone was to be created in God's image and are equal. Well, if we're all equal, why does the Jew, the Arab Muslim, and the black girl experience prejudice in this world? In chapter 1, verse 27, God made mankind on the 6th day of creation. It reads, "So God created humanity in his own image. In the image of God, he created it."
The tabernacle was the portable sanctuary that accompanied the children of Israel in the desert. Inside one of the objects was the ark, which contained the 10 Commandments as stone tablets. The Mishkan was the center of community, where people came together to meet God. My parsha also talks about the high priest and his special role in the temple, which was built in Jerusalem once the people were settled in the land of Israel. The high priest was the ultimate leader. He had special responsibilities like going to the Holy of Holies on Yom Kippur, where he pronounced God's name, which we don't know to this day. To this, he had special clothing, including a tunic, the chest piece, which had 12 stones to represent each tribe, a white turban on his head, and other pieces. In Exodus chapter 28, verse 3, we read, "Next you shall instruct all those who are skillful and wise to make Aaron's clothing." In this painting, there is an altar. An altar allows you to sacrifice items such as jewelry and animals. You also will see a water basin where people go to wash their hands. The verse above in English says, "I made this tent of meeting an altar."
I asked some friends and family to each write down one promise that they would do, and I asked them to take a picture of it. Here are some of the promises I collected. Let me read a couple. My Uncle Sig, who wishes he could be here today, said I will support the Northern California Bulldog Rescue by making donations and volunteering. And my Uncle Bill and his family said they would donate books to the Children's Library. I will be holding a Souls for Souls drive around my community. Souls for Souls is a non-profit organization. Their mission is to fight poverty by distributing shoes to people all around the world. I chose Souls for Souls because since I play sports, I see that a lot of my friends outgrow their shoes really quickly. And they're still usually in good condition. But they sometimes end up throwing them away. So I want to change that because there's a lot of people in the world that need our help.
Holidays are a really important part of life, and it is a big part of religion because it makes you feel more in touch and connected with Judaism. For example, when I celebrate Passover, it makes me feel more connected to the Jews who suffered and became free from Egypt. It makes me remember the hard times and to be thankful for what I have. Personally, for me, when I celebrate Jewish holidays with my family, it makes me feel more connected to my family and brings us together. I found out that a local writer, Abby Progression, spent a year celebrating all of the holidays. I thought it would be interesting to interview her. Abigail answered my questions very thoughtfully and helped me fully understand her experience. Before Abigail began doing this project, she was like me, where she only celebrated 4 or 5 holidays, and she always thought when she saw other families that do celebrate all the holidays, what are they getting that I'm missing? I agree that it is good to bring the past in today, so it relates to us, as well so that we remember what happened in the past, so we don't repeat the bad things, and so that we try and follow as an example the good things that Jews did. I feel that when you are Jewish, you are part of a community, and holidays help our community celebrate our religion and our beliefs, and it helps us connect to each other.
Before going to the lock, Balaam confronted God. This is interesting because Balaam was not Jewish, so why was he talking to a Jewish God? This could be because he was fearful and wanted to know what the Jewish God had to say about what Balak asked him to do. God said to go, so Balaam left. On the way there, an angel with sword stops them, but the twist is, Balaam does not see it and the donkey does. So the donkey keeps stopping, and Balaam keeps saying, "Why are you stopping?" And God beats the donkey over and over again. Eventually, Balaam sees the angel when God opens his eyes. This is ironic because Balaam is a seer and should see things, but instead the donkey does.
The other type of prophecy inspires hope or fear. Fear because it can make you worried about your actions that cause your future, but hope can come out of that since you can hope that your future can be changed.
First, Moses tells the people that they should only worship God. They also must destroy all sites for people who worship other gods. Imagine Israel being God's home field and everybody roots for the visiting team. Israel is God's land, so worshiping other gods shows disrespect towards him. The Israelites should also watch out for false prophets or people telling them to worship other gods. These false prophets threaten the unity of Israel and should be put to death immediately. The Israelites should worship God only in the Jerusalem temple and shall bring their offerings and sacrifices there and only there. In summary, Moses tells the Israelites that they should only worship God, kill false prophets, eat certain foods, forgive others from their debts, and help out the poor. We follow these rules because the Jewish people believe that God protects us if we follow them. They also keep unity and peace in Israel, help people protect one another, and create a foundation for a better society. This is why I made my mitzvah project something that would help the community and the planet as a whole. These rules and practices are a part of my life as well as some of yours. At Passover, I eat bitter herbs and unleavened bread. I do these things because I am a part of a Jewish community and always trying to take part and learn about my Jewish heritage and feel connected to it.
Because they will turn your children away from the real God and worship the wrong gods. Destroy their objects of worship, and do not think, how can we defeat them? They are so numerous. For God will help us defeat them, and we will have God on our side.
Moses, I'm a pacifist. Why do we have to kill them?
Just do what God says. God also says to be grateful to him, and when you are fortunate, to thank God. Do not blame God for your problems, and love God.
What I find ironic about Acab is while God is telling the Israelites to kill the Canaanites, he also reminds them to welcome the stranger. Does God not consider the Canaanites strangers? Or does he mean that you should welcome others into your land if they respect that it is your land? This makes some sense because in the book of Joshua, the Israelites do not kill the Canaanites, but instead convert them. They are not punished by God for allowing the Canaanites to live, so God must be okay with them disobeying his orders about that. Maybe God thought the Canaanites were so terrible they wouldn't ever be able to reform.
But later, when he realized the Canaanites were willing to become like the Israelites and worship him, he was okay with allowing them to live. They mixed with the Israelites, and most Jewish people are descended of this mixture. The constant critique of intermarriage among Jews is that people think you aren't really any religion, or that intermarriage weakens the Jewish community. But in reality, it can actually strengthen it.
The ritual that we're about to perform articulates the essential message of their changed status. That each of you is now a full member of the Jewish community and its story. Contained in part in this Torah is your story. Its journey is your journey. Its challenges, your challenges, and its promise, your promise.
We are gifts and we are blessings. We are history in song. We are hope and we are healing. We are learning to be strong. We are words and we are stories. We are pictures of the past. We are cared for, adored, we protect this chain. From generation to generation, the door got door.